So as the kitten had said, we needed to do a vlog on awnings. Now, as you can see, at the top, we have some really rotten awnings, which when the slide outs come out, they come out with the vehicle. Now, you'll see in a post that we made earlier, we are going to have some made by a really good company here in Woodbridge, and we'll be then showing you videos of that and how they look and what they're like. But we also have these awnings. Now, these awnings, operated by this little strap, and all you do is you, if you can hook that in, you hook it in, right, and they come down and then lock off. Voila! This particular one failed at exactly the same time as the other one failed. So I watched some videos, took it apart, kind of understood how it worked, and it seemed the only thing that was wrong with this one was it needed a little bit of lubrication, and it also needed the springs wound up to make it tighter, which can be quite dangerous, which I'll show you in the next bit. We have our second one which failed, and every time I put the slider out I had to tie it to the other awning and then untie it. So I took a big risk and I took the entire spring assembly out. But the annoying thing is with these spring assemblies is on this part which fits over the end of the cone, which you'll see in a minute, they have them riveted, so you have to be able to drill the rivets out and have a new set of rivets in. So what seems to happen in these is this end here locks in to the tube. This end is out of it on exposure and you can see it. You then have to wind this, apparently the recommended amount, which I think I've worked out to be 14 turns, and at the same time try and put a screw in. So really you should have two people operating this at the same time. So what I'm going to do is pop it back in. How it works is thus. As you can see, there's shapes in there which correspond to the shapes on the end of this little thing. Now what I discovered on this one was the whole thing was just slipping out. So this little piece here was slipping out of that bit there, and there was nothing to stop it, this part, moving up and down and slipping out. So what I did was I drilled through, which was really quite difficult and fiddly, and I put nuts and bolts on it in order to stop it moving this way and this way. So I'm praying to God that when I pop this little bugger in there like this, he will allow me to wind him up. So before I start putting the rivets on, I worked out it's got to turn that way. Now I can feel some spring tension coming on, and I'll let you see that by that. It spins out. So I'll quickly stop videoing now, and we'll come to part 2 when I have put the rivets back in. Here, if you haven't used rivets before, is a rivet, and this is our rivet gun. Now depending on the size of the rivet, we need to put the right end in here. So I've discovered that this one obviously fits in here quite nicely. Well, there's another one already in there, so it doesn't want to come out. Now what you do, I'll show you on here, is I have the rivet in there. I put my rivet gun over the top, and hopefully with one, between 2 and 3, you'll hear a crack. There's 2. There's 3. So that's our rivets. I'll just put one in, another one, not on camera. So I don't know where we were in the video before, where I started swearing we had to stop. We'd realised that part of what I'd done by putting a bolt through the end of the axle had actually stopped it from spinning. So very frustratingly, I had to take it all apart again, get it out, remove that, think of another option, which was to swap the piece of metal around the opposite way, put some tape on it, because we did actually lose the piece of metal halfway through, and I thought I was going to have to take the entire awning to get it off. However, we've done it, popped it back in, wound it up, which was quite confusing thinking about which way to wind it, popped our rivets back in, and are we ready? Voila! Fix this one. So in theory, I need a new strap. Done it for nothing, whereas it probably would have cost me 2, 3, £400, and they'd have made me replace the entire spring unit. So for people, if you've got a bit of patience and a few tools and a little bit of know-how, and you can figure out how things work, you must be able to, because I'm really not sharp as tool in the box, then you should also be able to fix yours. Voila, I thank you.